What is going on, guys? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Do we have any crackling in the mic? And also, for this one, vote. Vote on what you want to see. See at the top there. Do you want to see a Best Ball Mania draft or a Superflex puppy? I'll be honest, I have not done any of the puppies yet. Or any of the, I did the normal puppies, but not a Superflex one yet. So, do we see how that one goes together, or do we go for like the prime ADPs, see how things are looking right now? Whichever one you guys vote for in the next like couple of minutes, we'll do that one. But yeah, how's everyone going? Hopefully we get a few questions this week. It looks like right now Best Ball Mania is winning, but it's not like there's that many votes. So if you guys had in a few votes, you can definitely change the outcome there. Question number one. If you play in a 3-round reversal for redraft, which would be your favorite spot to draft ones from? So you guys don't know, 3rd-round reversal, normal snake drafts, you're the first pick, means you have the first overall pick, last pick in round 2, first pick in round 3. In a reversal, that 3rd round is reversed because historically the first, 5 or so picks have been kind of dominant, and so it's an effort to kind of ease that. This season, given that I think it's a lot more flat, it's a lot more like, any spot of the first round, you can still build a really strong team from. If you're going to get that benefit of the reversal in round 3, I would want something from the tail end of the first round. You're still going to get 2 really, really strong players, and you're going to get the beginning of round 3. Sounds good to me, especially with the end of round 2 dropping off so much. If you have a top 5 pick, and then you go with, the end of round 2 and then the end of round 3, that's definitely less appealing than it has been previous years. So that's what I would say. Rest in peace, Traylon Burks' dynasty value. I mean, it's not looking good. I mean, they're talking about, it is weird. So a take on that, and in a few seconds, I'll probably start with Best Ball Mania. That's what it seems like it's going to be. But for those of you who have not voted yet, there's 41 of you in here, 22 votes. Vote for what you want to see. Best Ball Mania or the puppy at the top of the chat there. The Burks. It's weird that they would, like, in my mind, someone would trade for him. Like, there's someone out there that would trade for Traylon Burks and be like, this kid's got raw talent. Can we convert it into something for low cost? If they're going to come in here talking like, oh, he's got to earn his spot on special teams, does that really get anyone in the trade markets, like, blood flowing? Like, no. Like, that, everyone's like, oh, okay, so he, like, legit stinks, Like, I feel like you should hype him up. Be like, yeah, he's coming in great. He looks awesome. We just don't have room for him. Like, that should be the narrative, not he's going to have to earn snaps on special teams. So we'll see if they kind of shift their narrative and trade him. That's something I thought could happen, but it hasn't happened yet. Also, we want to, hopefully I don't show anything here that's, like, terrible. But I want to see the, its appearance, bookmarks. There we go. Just want to make sure that's hidden. Hopefully no one hacks me. Okay. We're doing Best Ball Mania. Let's join into that one. For those of you who want to get into this one, now's your time. Click into it. You're on a delay. I am going to join one now. So you had a few seconds to get ahead of that one. We'll see if any are able to get in here with me. There are 4 left. So if some of you can be fast on that, then you should be good. Is it possible for yours to join? Well, yeah, if you get into this one right now. There was a question I missed, I feel like. Oh, how do you feel about Kyler and Marvin this year? Marvin take coming tomorrow? I think tomorrow. In tomorrow's video, there's a Marvin Harrison Jr. take. Haven't drafted him a lot, so there's a precursor to what that's going to be. But I like him as a player. It's just that ADP is kind of tough. But hey, we're going to actually have an opportunity to maybe draft Marvin Harrison here with the 11th pick. And I swear to God, I get so many of these tail end ones. Like, I was looking at my exposures, and I don't have a ton of like Tyreek Hill and CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. And it's like I have them ranked right at ADP. Like, I have them all kind of going after McCaffrey. It's because every draft I join, I have like picks 8 through 12. So it's like I keep loading up on these back end players because that's all I've seemed to have been getting. Oh, you're right after me. All right. So we're going to look for this guy right here to be sniping us on the picks. But yeah, anyways, with the Burks thing, it's just weird. Part of me still thinks like he's worth a pick in like the late 18th round. It's just that there are still a lot of players that I really like in the later rounds. But yeah, if you think Burks ends up getting traded, which if they're going to not even play him, he's not even going to be on the field unless it's special teams, I don't know why they wouldn't look to trade him. Someone will give him something. maybe there's a landing spot where he can perform better. But yeah, he's kind of cooked at this point. Like, I wouldn't trade for him in Dynasty. Even if someone's out there being like, it's a late pick, I'll take it. Like, I don't know. It's a tough situation to really invest in right now. So I'll pull up the draft board when, after the turn picks, basically, which is good, honestly, for streaming. It's good for getting these turn picks, and then you guys can see a bunch of picks go off the board. I also shortened what I look like, I guess, in the upper hand corner here. So you guys can see the name of the players as they come off here, and then as we scroll on the board. But finishing off the question, I like Marvin Harrison Jr. I just don't love the value, but we are to pick where he'll be on the board, so maybe we'll talk about him there. But I like Kyler a lot. I think his mobility, we'll end the poll here. His mobility combined with, increasing the skill players and just that, he's been dominant in fantasy when healthy. It's just that he's suffered a number of injuries that have really impacted him. Ankle sprains, shoulder injuries, obviously the knee injury, so many pretty significant injuries. If he can just stay healthy for a season, he's going to have a really, really good year. Okay. So we would take Breece, obviously, and then if we don't get him, we'll get one of Puka, AJ Brown, and Garrett Wilson. I have updated the rankings. So the Thursday video is going to be a breakdown of Puka, AJ Brown, and Garrett Wilson, trying to figure out how exactly we need to be drafting that group of players who we should be taking first. Looks like I'm probably just going to end up with one of them here, so I won't have to spoil too much. But I have not posted the results, so don't look at what I had here and be like, oh, that's the answer. I didn't post the results into the screen here yet because I didn't want to give away the answer. We will take Garrett Wilson. Regardless of what the rankings were, that's pretty clear in my eyes. I'll kind of go over how the first round is looking in a second here once we take the next one. But yeah, you take Garrett Wilson there because you're still guaranteed one of these running backs. So if you want to go running back wide receiver, you can do that. If you don't, you're almost forced to take two of the running backs, which you don't want to force into something. So Garrett Wilson, I think, is just a pretty easy pick there at 11. Steve here has a choice to make. Harrison. There he goes, Harrison. This is a difficult call, whether you want to go running back or you want to go receiver here. It would be JT or it would be Drake London. Kind of want to go with London and see if we can go with, really wide receiver heavy start and then target some of these running backs later on. I have a lot of builds where let's do it. I have a lot of builds where I go relatively heavy at the wide or the running back position. Teams are drafting either 3 or 4 total running backs. I want to get a team here that we draft heavily at the wide receiver position. Because honestly, there's some really good values at running back in the middle rounds. Okay. Put the board here. You guys should be able to see everything, so no complaining about not seeing the picks. But yeah, with Harrison, it's really tough value. You have to take him at this turn, which is just tough, for a rookie producing that level, given how good I think all the players are around him. So love the players, don't love the value. Okay. In a 10-team league, is it better to reach for a quarterback or a tight end early? So assuming that you were just picking one of them, what would you rather reach for? I would say it depends on the year, but this year in particular, if we're talking about reaching, I guess that probably in my mind means you're taking a top 5 option. I would probably rather reach for quarterback in a 10-team league. The real answer is none. I don't want to reach for any of them, but if you were only planning to draft at ADP or at slightly behind ADP, one of the early options, I would probably go quarterback. I don't think Laporta, Kelsey are the first two. I don't think either one of them is some amazing value this season. So if I was doing that instead of the quarterbacks, I wouldn't love that. So I don't think you need to go there. After that, I think Trey McBride is a fine value. I like Dalton Kincaid, but it's not like Dalton Kincaid is some amazing value. Mark Andrews is fine, but he's not an amazing value. So if we're talking about reaching on any one of them, I don't know. I don't think the value is really there to reach in a 10-team league, especially quarterback. If you just want to try and take a shot on your favorite of Allen, Hurts, Lamar, and then Stroud or Mahomes, go for it, right? If you want to reach a little bit for one of them. I will say for a 10-team league, I would make sure you end up with, I'll pull up, minimize this. I would make sure you end up with one of Allen, Hurts, Lamar, Mahomes, Stroud, Richardson, Burrow, Kyler, Dak, or Love. Or if you want to take a shot on Daniels. I would like make sure. So that's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. I basically wouldn't want to have like Tua, Trevor Lawrence, Herbert, Goff, Purdy, and be going up against these top 10 every week, because you're taking like a pretty big hit as you expand into like, 12, 14, 16 team leagues. Once that becomes like, go away. Once more and more teams have those lower end players, it kind of goes away there. I wouldn't want to wait too long in a 10 team league. Who should be the first overall fantasy pick projecting forward? Well, McCaffrey. It's just pretty clear it's McCaffrey. Really any scoring format, he should be the first pick, whether it's best ball, redraft, not dynasty, but yeah, McCaffrey. Your redraft league is deciding draft order by assigning each owner a U.S. Open golfer and the draft order on the final standings between the 12 golfers. Any cool way you decide the draft order? We don't have a cool way. We have a hat, and you pick out of the hat. But I always think the best way is whatever you want to do, pick out of the hat, do a competition like that. Don't make the results of that like, oh, I won, I get the first pick. It should be I won, I get the first pick of what pick I want. So it shouldn't just be you're locked into the 101. You're locked into you get to select your pick first. So we've done things like that in the past, but no real cool ones. I feel like it'd be fun to do like a March Madness, like everyone kind of picks March Madness, but then, or maybe a March Madness bracket. What with the standings of March Madness bracket or something like that. We got is the Olympics this summer? You can do something with the Olympics. Yeah. Props. You could do like props, pick like, I don't know, for the finals, for the NBA finals or something like that. Do props, whoever does the best on props. Oh, we're on the clock. Okay. But anyways, yeah, it should be who gets first pick of that. Wait, what pick are we at? 30 something? We're at 34 and Kyron's still there. People hate Kyron for some reason right now. I'm down on Pittman, but with Pittman being the second best player, and we said we wanted to go heavy at that, people hate Kyron. My goodness. Yeah. No, I can't in good conscience not take the value on Kyron there. I understand his ADP is falling. We're at the 311. People need to stop overreacting to minor injuries in late May and early June. It's kind of egregious if like he was going in the late second round and then it came out that he's like just not gonna be playing for a little bit because of the foot injury. It's like, okay, but like they still love him. They like the Corum hype, yes, is still there. Like they drafted Corum because they're so in love with Kyron Williams that they wanted to secure someone like him for all season if he gets hurt. I don't know. I think people are overreacting a little bit. I'm gonna try and load up on some Kyron. As soon as he comes back, people are gonna be like, oh yeah. Like he's still obviously going to be a very, heavily featured player on this team. So we take Kyron there. We said we'd go heavy at wide receiver, but I don't know. The value wasn't really there. It's not even there a ton right now. We'd have to reach for T. Higgins. We could definitely take Kelsey, and I'd probably rather take Kelsey over T. Higgins. I don't think we're going wide receiver here. I would not take any of these running backs. This would be a reach on all the running backs. Or you take Josh Allen, who's also a pretty nice value. Why don't we do this? Let's just take the value of these following players. Josh Allen was going in like the mid-20s a bit ago too. Let's take the value. Because also Josh Allen's so easy to stack. Like, oh, and don't worry about the bias, by the way. Josh Allen's so easy to stack with like none of his players have gone yet. So we still have every opportunity to draft multiple stacking partners. And if we only hit on one of them, that's fine. Because realistically, Josh Allen's upside comes through rushing, right? Can he run for 15 touchdowns again? Can he just put the team on his back? And it's like, oh, they lost Stephon Diggs. One rumor I did hear also, by the way, is that they let go of Diggs because of next gen stats. Like teams have like data on like player movement, player speed, all that stuff. They noticed that he was slowing down, that he was kind of like regressing, and that's why they got rid of him. I mean, realistically, he'd still be their best wide receiver if he was on the team right now. But just something for you to throw out there. Basically, let's say they're worse, right? Is that even bad for Josh Allen? Like if they end up being worse, there's more games where they're like closer losing. I want Josh Allen losing. Like I want him to lose a game where, maybe the offense struggles for a little bit, but he still runs for like 50 yards, right? And 2 touchdowns, and then he throws for another like 200 and a touchdown or two. Like, I want him to have to be in like scramble mode in the fourth quarter, put the team on his back because he's really good. So I think the value there made sense. And again, the stacking makes it easy. Good start here for this team right here. A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley with Jalen Hurts. That's a really nice stack. And then the person that we've got in the stream with us, good combo, Harrison and Pittman. I don't necessarily love the value again of Harrison, but it's close enough. Love Gibbs. I think Etienne's going to have a really strong workload. They're still pushing Bigsby, but I mean, unless he improves, I can't imagine they give Bigsby that many snaps. Okay. Next question. Do we have a draw for draft position? Well, we have a draft position. Yeah, we do the same thing. What do you think of the second round receivers and how to differentiate them? Well, to be honest, we're probably going to have to do the Thursday videos of breaking down these wide receivers. But how to differentiate is basically you got 4 right here. I know second round, but I'll get to it. You got the Lamb, Chase, Hill, Jefferson, where you could kind of jumble it in any order. I believe my order is Lamb, Hill, Chase, Jefferson, but again, it's so close. Then you have St. Brown just kind of like on his own. Honestly, not even that much on his own, really at the tail end of that group. Then you've got the trio, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, and Puka Nacua in the order that we'll talk about in the Thursday video. Then I think you have everyone. I think you literally have Harrison, London, Ayuk, Olave, Debo, Nico, Evans, Waddle, Adams. All of them I have projected within 10 points of each other. All of them, like, you could mess that up as however you want. Which kind of makes it tough, which is why I kind of talk about in the video tomorrow about how, like, I don't love Harrison because you have to take him first, but you could rearrange that group however you want. Kind of the same deal with Ayuk. So it's difficult, basically. It's difficult to rank them, but Harrison and Ayuk probably deserve to be at the top. London, because of the situation, deserves to be at the top. Olave, talent-wise, deserves to be there. I do think that, like, you know, Debo, Nico, Waddle, just given like how much competition they have, deserves to be at the tail end there. Same thing with Mike Evans because you can throw in quarterback play there. Adams, because of age, you could probably throw in him there. So maybe it's like this 4 and then this 5. But within the groups, there's truly not much differentiation. Hate when it doesn't go with it. Okay. We're up. For quarterback, I mean, had we taken Houston, we would, but we don't want to take our second quarterback at this spot. So we're not going to do that. Rachaad White, fine. I'm not huge on Rachaad White this season, but if he was the top player, we wouldn't be opposed to it. Not huge on Calvin Ridley. Not good values at wide receiver. I said we wanted to try and go wide receiver heavy, but we do not have good values at wide receiver right now. Honestly, Pitts is probably the play, especially because we have London. So we can grab Pitts. We can begin a stack. It is a week 12 bye, and that is unfortunate. It would force us, if we took Cousins, to do a 3 quarterback build, which you guys know I don't prefer to do. I very much prefer 2 quarterback builds. But there are some quarterbacks. Like I saw Geno Smith available in the mid 18th round today in a draft. That's kind of ridiculous. There will be options for us. So we'll be able to find like Pitts over Kittle. Yes, definitely Pitts over Kittle. We'll be able to find something. I think getting that stack is worth it. Week 12 is going to stink for us, but it's not the end of the world. I think the play here is still Calvin Ridley. I'm down on him, but he's still a top wide receiver, so something to talk about a lot. If you guys know that I'm kind of down on a player, that's in the projections, right? I'm projecting them to have maybe not as good of a season as some people expect. If they become the top player in the rankings, well, if I'm wrong, it probably means Calvin Ridley's a pretty good pick here, so I should take him. So whenever there's a player I don't love that much that becomes the top player, not a bad choice to take them. Also makes sense strategy-wise. Like, this is a 3 wide receiver format. It is best ball. I'm hoping that I can fill that flex spot with wide receiver each week. So I want, a lot of wide receivers and a lot of really solid ones. It just kind of makes sense to have another wide receiver at this spot. Another player that's not a week 12 bye, because that was becoming unfortunate. Again, we don't worry about it too much, but we will worry about it with the quarterback, because I'm not taking 0. I'll do that at tight end. I'll take 2 tight ends with the same bye and take a 0 in that week. I will not do that at quarterback. I'm not going to sacrifice like 20 points of value. I'm taking that third one. Don't be a fool. Take him. I guess I don't know who we were talking about at that point, but hopefully it was one of the picks I actually made. Fed the village for 3 years. Love you guys too. Kyron, Drake London, Rashad White, all those guys stream bust to me. So I agree on Rashad White for sure. I think I talk about him in tomorrow's video as well, so don't want to give away too much there. Again, but Bucky Irving concerns me personally. I think he's good. I think he's going to be used. I think that, Edmonds and Vaughn were just so trash last season that it was like they basically had to feature Rashad White. He had what, 300? I think it's 336 touches, 3 less than McCaffrey. And he was still 14th in half PPR points per game. You take the touches away, and he's going to free fall in fantasy production. So that's not great. Kyron, I can see it, but I think it still comes through an injury, which he is more likely to injure than some other players, but not significantly. I don't think they bring Corum in there. Because also, everyone's assuming Corum is the Kyron clone, which means he's as good as Kyron. It just means that, structurally, they do kind of the same things. It could easily turn out that Kyron is just not that good. It wasn't that great of a class, right? It's not everyone was screaming, oh, this guy's going really heavy, by the way. That's 6 straight wide receivers. Chase, Waddle, Diggs, Kirk, McLaurin, Brian Thomas, and Rashid just go all out. I will say, if you guys followed the videos last year, the number one draft strategy that my model simulated as just optimal was literally 7 wide receivers to start off, but I can't remember the finish. I think it was running back in 8, and then you attack tight end and quarterback. I want to say that's what happened, and then you had to finish off with no wide receivers. I think it was 6 total running backs, and then 2 quarterback, 3 tight ends, something like that, or maybe 2 tight ends, however it fits. But it is actually kind of an optimal way to start. Anyways, I don't remember what the tangent was going on before that, but. Oh yeah, that is a good take on Diggs. I'll get back to that in a second. We will post here. Okay. So, we were obviously looking for the stack, but it looks like Keon is gone, right? Yeah, Keon Coleman's gone. So for the stack, we're still waiting. The other Buffalo receivers go in the 100s, so we're not going to take them now. We would probably take Jameson Williams. ADP really going up right now, but he is the last wide receiver in this drop-off tier. So we're kind of hoping we get him. We don't get him. That's very unfortunate. I like Ferguson a lot, so I'd be fine taking Ferguson. I'm not reaching any of those wide receivers. Montgomery's a strong value right now, and we should probably take Dave Montgomery. Quarterback-wise, we'd need to see a really strong value with a stack because we are hoping to take Kirk Cousins later on. So I think Montgomery's a pretty clear and obvious pick here. Everyone thinks that Gibbs is going to get more workload. I think he will. Also, that does not mean Dave Montgomery is not a player they love, a player that is extraordinarily good at football, that they trust, that is still going to be a guy that closes out games, guy that bring in the red zone. It's the late 7th round, and I'm just locking in probably 8 to 10 touchdowns here. Touches. We're locking in a ton of touches with Kyron and Montgomery. Oh, yeah, I was talking about Kyron. It's just we're all assuming that Corum is going to take the job, and if he doesn't, you're basically getting a player that was the most valuable or second most valuable player in all fantasy last season in the 3rd round. So if he just has his role from last year, we're good. And the only thing stopping that is Corum, who we have no idea really if he's that good. At this pick, our option is taking Stevenson as the 3rd running back. It is not wide receiver. We are in a range now where you don't touch wide receiver. There's a drop off. I'm getting way worse value. I think it's Ferguson. I think we just do that and we don't touch tight end the rest of the way. There are late tight ends I do like, but value-wise here, it's Ferguson or it's Stevenson. And I think Ferguson's just a way better value. I'm getting a tight end where in Pitts, he completed the stack, but then also I just think he's going to have an awesome year. Has significant upside. He could be the number 1 tight end. But Ferguson, with the opportunity that he has and how strongly he played last season, there's so much upside in Ferguson. If I can lock in 2 tight ends that could both be top 5 this season, good there. But then again, I probably shouldn't take a 3rd, and there are some I like late. So it kind of stinks taking that 2nd one, but good upside there. But over Kittle, Kittle just has, I don't know. I just don't like Kittle because he's like the fourth option on offense. He really just he drops those nukes when people are injured. So you need injuries for Kittle to work out. Ton of games where he doesn't really do anything. So in best ball, like you can capitalize on those spikes, but you're really needing those spikes to happen. I think it was like 8 out of 19 games last season. He had 5.5 half PPR points or less. That's not amazing. Another year older, suffered through a lot of injuries in his career. They re-sign Johnson or Jennings, and then they draft Ricky Pearsall, who I think Ricky Pearsall is going to have, a decent role as that third receiver. Maybe they go into 3 wide receivers a little bit more. Maybe they feature him more than those other guys. That can take a role away from Kittle. And so I don't know. He's obviously great, but he's probably like a top 3 tight end in football. It's just for fantasy, I don't have the value. Did the new offensive coordinator midseason mess up Diggs? I think maybe. I think it's definitely possible, and I think there could have been things behind the scenes that were going on that we'll either never know or we won't know for a while. But it's like, they changed that. So had he stayed, it wouldn't have been good this season. Could that be a reason for the drop-off? Yes, but what I'm talking about was more like they saw like speed and like movement data that would be completely different. Like whether the offense coordinator is different, whether the routes are different, it's like if you're slower, right? You're slower whether the offense coordinator is good or bad. Why is Stroud still available? Where'd he go? Oh, wow. Stroud fell a lot to 67. He's been falling. I think there's been some major platforms that have been a little bit off of CJ Stroud, have kind of, had some negative things to say about him. I don't have negative things to say about him very much. So yeah, I mean, that would have been really, really nice value getting him at that spot. I will say the tough thing with Stroud on Underdog, at least, is you want that stack and they all go before him. So this person didn't get the stack. They now have to do tight end. What's the tight end's name? Dalton Schultz. Or what? I mean, they're going to go with like Noah Brown. Is he even still on the team? They don't have Mixon, do they? No. So it's like kind of tough when you have a pocket passing quarterback that you didn't stack. So, oh my goodness, 3 early quarterbacks to that team. Lamar, Stroud, and Dak. Interesting. Basically just trying to take value there. But also doesn't have the stack on Dak. So it's an interesting build. But I'll say it's really nice when you can get like Dell and Nico or Dell and Diggs or something like that, and Stroud can fall because no one's going to reach on him. Get some really, really fun teams there. Okay, we're not taking Cousins at this pick. He's just queued up to remind us that we will be taking him at some point. Hopefully, See, this is the annoying part about Buffalo, though. People will still take the one-off receivers. So people reached on both receivers, it looks like, for Buffalo. So that stinks. God, I still hate the wide receivers. My goodness. It would be Dobbs here. I'm going to make sure we don't get that there. We're not taking tight end. I don't want to take Pollard, but he's the top one there. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I mean, we kind of have to take Dobbs. No. Oh, okay. I was going to move Pollard over, honestly. I mean, I don't like it. I don't like that pick. But what was there? I mean, a bunch of players that are still going to be on the board when we wrap around at our next pick. There's really nothing left at wide receiver. We got 2 pretty unfortunate timings with wide receivers. So, again, remember that decision we had early on of Garrett Wilson versus Jonathan Taylor. You want a lot of wide receivers in Underdog, but you're sometimes going to fall into situations where the value is not really there. By taking the 2 of them early at pretty even value for London or for Jonathan Taylor, you're basically saying, well, I can dig myself out of this hole if it happens to be that, we don't get great value at wide receiver. And I mean, we're still fine. It's just we're going to need a lot of them later on, and we're going to need to probably take 3 quarterbacks. So we're struggling there. I don't like Tony Pollard very much, but I don't like him that much. And he's the top player or the top position player, non-quarterback in the rankings. Yeah, I can't reach for any of these. I can't reach for any of them. Gross. But I guess it's 15 spots back from ADP, so it's not a terrible spot to take him. I just I don't think it's Pollard this season. Anywho, people are taking Deontay Johnson several rounds ahead of first round. Oh, I thought you were saying ahead of ADP. I was like, oh, I haven't seen that. Xavier Legette could be a potential mistake. Could be a potential mistake, but I don't think I'm not very high on Legette. I think, he's a 5-year prospect that took 5 years to fully break out. Those late breakout 1-year wonders don't have a good history of working out. He does also already have a hamstring injury. It seems like it's going to be fine, but he's got a little bit of hamstring injury. That's very bad. So whenever you have rookies miss a lot of time in camp, and a lot of time hasn't happened yet, but something to just keep in our back of our mind, if we ever get a rookie that misses, multiple weeks, a month in training camp, that's huge. That hurts a lot because it takes rookies a long time to learn the system, to develop rapport with the quarterback, to just kind of learn the NFL. So missing time right now, not a huge deal, but he is. Was Josh Allen in the early 4th round pick? No, I think he was a late 3rd round pick, but no, he was an early 4th round pick, yes, which I think is great value. It's just, again, we're going to have to try and find the stacking partner. Could be, we probably want the 210. I was going to say, could be Knox in the last round. Yeah, I'm fine with a naked Josh Allen. We want to find a stacking partner. Corum has awkward body control at the end of runs. Reminds me of Dobbins in that regard. Loving them both, but they have themselves dangerous positions all the time. Yeah, I cannot speak to anything with body control, anything with any of that for Corum. I just know that, play style wise, he's similar to Kyren, and that's why they went after him. They view the two of them very similarly. But I just think people are hyping that up a little bit too much, almost saying it's like a guarantee that he's going to take a large workload. We've seen many times that backups get hyped up because we think they're going to take a big workload. I probably did this too much with Bigsby last season, that the starter sees the workload they continued to have last season because touches are earned in the NFL, and typically people don't get overloaded with touches with the coaches singing their praise and then all of a sudden get nothing. And then the rookie takes more time to develop, doesn't do all that much, and we see the original running back crush, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense, right? They produced in the past, makes them more likely to produce in the future. Okay, we're going to be at 131 up in a second. This will probably, it's probably just good enough time to take Kirk Cousins. There's no real reason to try and wait longer unless there's someone that we really like. Eckler's top in the rankings, but I already have 3 running backs. I don't think I need to take Eckler. For wide receiver, it would be Brandon Cooks. He'd be the one that I want. Would this team be likely to take a quarterback? A naked Cousins would be weird here. And it's worth the risk because we lose out on Cousins. Basically we're almost helping ourselves not have to take that bye. Yeah, let's do it. I think it's worth the risk. Take Cooks. Also, wait. Yeah, okay. I was going to say something else, but it made no sense. Okay. Naked Cousins are weird everywhere. Yeah, it's odd to take a naked Cousins because you literally need 350 and 3 from him, which means his weapons are going off. It's so easy to correlate that, which is why you like that correlation. But to have him naked, you need to get so many things right on your team. Hitting on one player like that, it's you want to correlate that, and the easiest way to do that is with quarterbacks. So you want to be correlating quarterbacks a lot. If we get sniped on Cousins here, we should probably go with another wide receiver. So I guess top guy is Jahan. Oh, Jahan goes. Yeah, no, we should take Cousins. Like I was saying, though, again, we're going to need another quarterback there. When you start off with these Atlanta players, you're betting, right? I took London at pick 14. I took Pitts at pick 59. I am betting that Atlanta has a good season. How do they have a good season? It is either Kirk Cousins or Kirk Cousins could still get hurt and then maybe Penix breaks out. But the most likely outcome for especially the pass catchers is Cousins, because you don't really want the hyper-mobile quarterbacks. I guess Penix isn't hyper-mobile. You don't want the mobile quarterbacks, especially the ones that could steal rushing touchdowns. You don't want them, or steal touchdowns like them rushing it. You'd prefer Cousins, right? Cousins has been amazing for his pass catchers his entire career. So if they go off, it's very likely because of Cousins. You correlate that with Cousins. You say, I'm betting on Atlanta to do well. 3 picks will be right if Atlanta does well, especially my early pick that needs Cousins to do well to pay off. So again, taking naked quarterbacks on Underdog is strange unless you get huge value for them. Number 1, running back heavy going against the grain. So I've done this a lot, and I think it is an awesome strategy. Like I wouldn't take another. Seriously, like if you started off McCaffrey, Achane, Henry, I don't know the bye weeks, but assuming there's no overlap in the bye weeks, I would only take the 3. I would not take another running back. I would say everyone is going unbelievably wide receiver heavy. And honestly, I would say, let's say, so I finished, I think at this point, 35 drafts. Of those 35, I would say 20 of them, like a good chunk, are running back early heavy, because like a running back heavy early, because so many people are hammering wide receiver. If we get a year where Achane just gets the workload, like gets just a little bit more touches than last season and has those spiked weeks, McCaffrey's McCaffrey and Henry's Henry, like you can get a situation where you have 3 running back ones that you are crushing the running back position with only 3 of them in total and can still advance, still produce really well in those weeks. And you can attack this range with wide receiver. You can only have 3 total in the roster, so you can have overload other positions. I just think it opens up a lot of doors. So I haven't necessarily gone with 3 straight wide receivers or 3 straight running backs on all those teams, but I have gone with 3 or 4. I don't know what just happened there. Well, hopefully you guys can still see me. I've gone with 3. Can you still see me? That is the real question here. Someone let me know if we can, because I don't want to just talk into the void for nothing. I will restart the stream if we need to. But I want some sort of indication that you can still see me. And our pick is almost up. We still have questions coming in, but can any of you answer if we... Okay, good. Awesome. Okay. I'll finish that thought in a second. We got to pick someone. So for tight end, we need to see good value. No good value. Wide receiver, pretty easy pick. Go with Darnell Mooney. I don't even have to really talk about that one too much. Obviously, you want the stack there. Mooney's been falling a lot in drafts, and Mooney's also a big play guy. If Mooney's hitting deep, we are getting a pretty easy correlation with the quarterback. Week 12 again is going to be so bad for us. We will need to go back to running back at some point. I don't mind Ray Davis. You need an injury, but upside if you get that injury. No, not going to go with the quarterback yet. So probably Ray Davis, because everyone else I don't really need there. Yeah, we'll go with Ray Davis. I think plan for the rest of the draft. So 15, 16, 17, 18. We have 4 picks left. I want at least 1 more running back, but probably only 1 more running back. So of the 4 picks, 1 running back, 1 quarterback, probably 2 wide receivers. I feel like I've abandoned wide receiver a little bit too much in not the early rounds, but those kind of mid rounds. I think we got to stick with Pitts and Ferguson, even if we see good value. I keep talking about good value. I really like Conklin, Juwan Johnson, and Chig. I feel like are my go-tos kind of later on there, especially Conklin. I've really warmed up to Conklin lately. Just kind of seems like he's going to, continue just commanding targets at a pretty decent rate. Obviously, I'm betting pretty heavily on the Jets offense this season. If you kind of look at the rankings, just not Mike Williams. I just like kind of the other players on that team. If you miss out on them, Tucker Kraft has fallen a lot, but realistically, he's going to be back at some point, and they still really like him. He's going to be on the field a ton, so he doesn't really need to be practicing right now. So that fall is kind of unwarranted. Jelani Woods has a lot of upside. I like taking him later on. So there's a lot of third tight ends I like, or second tight ends if we went with a Kelsey or a Laporta or a Kincaid or something like that. But I think with this build, we probably want to stick with what we said there. Probably stick with the 2, because we have to draft that third quarterback. And third quarterback, we'll see if we can stack it, but I'd be fine having it naked because, I'm kind of relying on those first two. Oh, you're in the Facebook group from like 2017, 2018-ish? Yeah. The group, I think, is still alive. I should probably end it. I still get like requests for people to join that thing. But yeah, there are like thousands of people in that Facebook group. But Discord now. Those of you who are not in the Discord, it's free. Go to the website. You can join in for free. Also, 26 likes, 67 concurrent. Let's get the likes up as well. Yeah, Scott Jung. Hit the like button. Can you have a couple of your last 2-round sleepers? Okay, kind of did that on tight end, but we can go positionally. We're almost in the last 2 rounds, so I'll have to scroll that far. Okay, so we'll say like ADP 1. We'll go like this kind of range. Honestly, I'll just start here. Theoretically Mims, but I don't know. I wouldn't go overweight there. I'd probably go with the field on Mims. I like Zay Jones. I liked Marcus Robinson if he can just retain his role from last season. Javon Baker has upside for the Patriots. I don't know who their one's going to be, but if it ends up being Baker, getting him this late, that's good value. Jalen McMillan, if he can kind of be that consistent third wide receiver, I like that. Jalen Hyatt, if he can. I mean, I think all the Giants wide receivers, it's like figure out who's going to be the number 2 behind Malik Neighbors. I think there's upside there. I think if you went with the Saints stack, A.T. Perry makes sense. Elijah Moore, if you still believe in that. I believe in the talent, but the situation I don't necessarily love. I don't mind taking a shot on Brendan Rice. No hype yet, but if he got hype, it'd be pretty easy to tell the story of Jerry Rice's kid in a wide receiver room that there's absolutely no talent in. Or not no talent, but like there's no significant player, right? I think Ladd's their best player. I think Palmer's good, but he's Palmer. Quentin Johnson's a bust. It's like, if you're half decent, you can probably earn snaps on that wide receiver core. Is Jerry Rice's kid half decent? Maybe, right? Xavier Gibson, I like late as a sleeper option. Traylon Burks, if he got traded, I like. For running back, Dameon Pierce, if he gets traded. Tyron Tracy is a good option. Bigsby. Braylon Allen is getting a ton of hype right now. He's a good option. So those are some sleepers. Okay. We can't take a quarterback with the bye. We'd like to stack. We should have paid more attention to that stack. There's no real stack that we can actually look at right now besides Levis. So we'll have Levis up. Kind of don't want to take Levis with this pick, but it's not terrible. Yeah, why don't we take Levis with this pick? Oh, wait, no, Levis makes a lot of sense with this pick. Yeah, that was an obvious one. I was saying I only had Tony Pollard. I have Tony Pollard and I have Calvin Ridley. So yeah, that was an easy pick. Okay. The team's coming together. Nice. Again, not going to go tight end. We need a running back and 2 wide receivers. I think Zay Jones falling a lot in the ranking in like ADP recently. I don't agree with that. But if he's falling, can I get DeMarcus as well? No, let's take, I don't know. Maybe we could have played ADP game a little bit there, but I think take Zay Jones, or I guess we could have gone with one of like Herbert, Tracy, Pierce. I think with my next pick or my next 2, I would like to get Braylon Allen and just the receiver that kind of jumps out at the time, kind of just rotate that last receiver makes sense. But Braylon Allen's been rising a lot in ADP, so. Okay. Juwan Jennings, last round sleeper pick right now. Are we frozen? Drew Vogel, are you playing with me or are we frozen? Because that would be good to know if I need to refresh this thing. We are on a delay too, so I have to always wait like 15 seconds for you guys to say an answer here. But anyways, yeah, that was a ton of the sleepers I liked late. And you want to just rotate the last round sleeper, right? We only hear and see what? Last pick you see is Marshawn Lloyd. You're not frozen, but the board is. How could the board be frozen? Huh. That's strange. I have no idea what stopping the stream and going live again would do, but I can try it. I'll try it. What did that do? No, that didn't do anything. Well, we only have 2 picks left, so hopefully you guys are good with a frozen screen. We'll see. But yeah, give me any sort of updates. I'll play around with it. We'll see if I can change anything here. Should have drafted Lawrence. No. Makes more sense to go with the stack. Yeah, I don't know why that would have... I can try doing this. Yeah, I didn't think that would work. Oh, yeah, playing because you saw the video. I think Lawrence, like, falling, he does fall, like, a decent amount. Like, I literally saw him go at, like, 150 the other day. If you can get Lawrence falling at 150, like, do it, especially if you can stack him with someone later on. But yeah, I just see no upside in him. Nope, that didn't work. I'm trying different things. I'm trying to get you guys to have the screen to come back. Oh, wait, did that work? I feel like maybe that worked. Nice. I have no idea. So I just had to like close out of a cap thing and go back into it. We'll go over all the picks that happened in the meantime. I've been playing around with things though, so I haven't really looked at the picks here. Brilliant Allen did go. Town and Tracy did go. We are starting to see some of those like really good late round options kind of come off the board a little bit earlier. So those 18 round picks are going to start going in like 16, 17 soon, which kind of stinks. Dobbins good value. I mean, I don't know if his leg's going to fall off at any point, but I'm not in love with the other ones. I kind of listed the ones that already went off the board. It would make sense to go Rondell Moore, but I don't think anyone's going to snipe us on Rondell Moore. I imagine this guy's going to double dip wide receiver, though. But I think it's probably worth risking it because I'm pretty okay if I don't get Rondell Moore. Let's go with Dobbins. Why not take a shot on him, like 30 picks behind where his ADP is? Oh, wow. Okay, we need to go over that team. We're just going all in on Atlanta. I mean, why not, right? Pull this up. We literally just stacked like the entire offense, the entire passing offense behind, or besides Bijan Robinson. We got Drake London, we got Darnell Mooney, we got Kyle Pitts, and we got Rondell Moore. So if Cousins is having a dominant season, that is going to really work out for us and our team here. I'll go over the team in a second. Any weird picks since the Lloyd pick? Let's see. Tight end. Nope. Nothing was weird at tight end. Quarterback. I feel like that's kind of... I feel like Fields doesn't usually go in 17. Usually either doesn't go or goes in 18. I mean, Baker at 180 is a pretty good value. So that was kind of later than expected. Wide receiver. No. Brandon Powell. Did they have... why did they take Brandon Powell? I guess is the question. Brandon Powell is an interesting pick. I don't really know the rationale there. I would say if you stacked up Minnesota, that makes sense. And I like him as a player. I just don't think with McCarthy this season and Jefferson and Addison healthy, that one makes a whole lot of sense. Vidal has been climbing. Yeah, where'd Vidal go? Where did he go? He went that early in 14? Oh my goodness. Like, realistically, if you had to do the depth chart right now, it is Gus, Dobbins, Vidal. Like, the only reason people like Vidal is because Gus is old and Dobbins is working on like 2 bionic legs. Like that's the only reason, in like a 0 Achilles. That's the only reason people like Vidal. It's not because Vidal is some like amazing player. He's fine, but he's not like an amazing prospect. If he was an amazing prospect, he'd have been drafted by someone. Like someone would have taken him, right? I mean, he got drafted, but like there were a lot of rounds that went by before he got drafted. He's not an amazing prospect. He shouldn't be going multiple rounds before J.K. Dobbins. Like if I had to guess which one outproduces, my guess is still J.K. Dobbins is going to be more valuable in fantasy. Okay, let's go over the team. So I feel like this is the best way to... goodness. Is this one right? Good. I think we got a little bit lucky with the Tennessee stack. So we don't get anything with the Buffalo stack, but I think that's fine. Josh Allen is going to have plenty of games where he spreads it around to Shakir and Coleman and the tight ends and the running backs and Samuel, enough for 250 and like a touchdown or two, and then he runs. Like that's what we're looking for. The upside is the mobility. So we don't need to stack him, especially because we got a huge Kirk Cousins stack. So we've got Kirk Cousins with Drake London, with Mooney, Rondell Moore, and Pitts. And then we've got a really nice Will Levis stack. We got Will Levis a few picks of value, but Tony Pollard at value, and then Calvin Ridley kind of at his ADP. So we're betting on Atlanta, and we're betting on the Titans. We get that third quarterback just because we took the 2 tight ends there. We go with 2 tight ends because we got Pitts and Ferguson, 2 tight ends I feel good about. And I mean, I need Pitts to do well for the Atlanta stack to hit. Running back, I think is fine. We didn't invest a ton of capital in it, but I kind of wanted to do that just because we had to keep going after the wide receiver position later on. So we get Kyron, hoping that he's Kyron from last season, in which case he's dominant at this pick. Dave Montgomery, I just think is a great value even at 72, so 83 we're going to get him. Pollard works with the stack, thank goodness. Ray Davis, I think was just fine. I mean, it's just like a rookie pick. There's really nothing there. It's just like, does James Cook get injured, right? Or does he stumble into a few touchdowns? Oh, I didn't even realize that. That's theoretically a stack. Especially if we got an injury to James Cook, we'd basically lock up all touchdowns, Ray Davis and Josh Allen, and then just a shot on J.K. Dobbins. So running back's our thinnest position, and we kind of like scrap together wide receiver after a while. Garrett Wilson, I love. Drake London's going to be really strong this season. Calvin Ridley, wouldn't say I'm in love with him, but with the bet on the Titans, that makes sense. The Dobbs pick's probably the one I like the least, but it was just like, there was nothing else at that pick. You had to take someone, right? And I didn't want to go with running back at that spot. We already had the tight ends. I knew what I was doing at quarterback, so it's basically take the top wide receiver there. Brandon Cooks, Darnell Mooney, high weekly upside. Zay Jones, I think just good value. And then the stack with Rondell Moore. So I think the team worked out pretty strongly. And you see I already drafted Brandon Cooks. The thought on Cooks was basically that he was just a good value. I'll pull up the board so you guys can just like stare at that if you feel like it. I didn't really talk a lot about him when I took him. I just think I think second year in the system is going to help him. They've kind of talked about how the rapport seems to be much stronger this season. So second year in the system should be help there. It's still going to be an offense that's, top 5 in pass attempts, top 5 in like production in the passing game. Obviously, if CeeDee Lamb got hurt, he'd have upside, but you're not even really looking at that when you're stacking him up. I think it's just like he's just a good value for where he's going, even if he's just like going to slowly grow on last season, because it closed last season. He was a lot better there. I have major value in running backs on this team. I did. Actually, every single running back I drafted was a good value. Okay. We fought through the frozen screens. We fought through the stream not helping us, and we fought through some picks, not necessarily going our way, but I think it was a good team. Remember to stack on Underdog. Oh, also a promo for Underdog, just so you know, is their pick 8 thing is out. I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't looked into it enough to know like how awesome it is, but if you see it in the lobby and you're like, what on earth is this? Just think of this as their other pick'em. Like when you do a pick'em, it's like you're picking higher or lower on anywhere from 2 to 5 projections. You're allowed to do 8 now. So you're allowed to go up to 8, plus you're allowed to get 2 wrong, and then you just kind of get a payoff based on how many you get right. So you can kind of see on the thing there, if you pick 8 and you get them all right, you 80x? That seems kind of absurd, right? That's a pretty high amount. The up to 325 is if you can do like scorchers. So like if you're like, oh, I think that I don't know, Luka gets a triple double though. When the playoff or when the football's out, it's going to be like touchdown. Does this guy get 100 yards? Does he get a touchdown? Things like that. But yeah, it's just basically based off of how many you want to pick, how many do you get right or wrong, and you go from there. So if you get all 8, you get 7 of the 8, you get 6 of the 8. So if you see that in the lobby, that's basically what that was. Kind of interesting. I feel like I'm going to try it out for like the playoff game on Thursday for the Celtics, but we'll see, right? Because I think I'm actually allowed to do it in New Hampshire. So definitely check. Some of you who can't do pick'em might be able to actually do this, which is kind of interesting. But you guys got to check based on that. Last question here. Detroit has all but 2 or 3 games outside. A good feeling they're going to be ahead by a lot. Monty's going to use more people think. So, yeah, they have one outdoor game. Detroit has one outdoor game before week or through the first 15 weeks of the season. So they're basically always playing indoors. They're going to score a ton of points, ton of touchdowns. So much production is going to flow through Detroit this season. So, yeah, load up on Detroit players. Hit the like button, everyone, if you've not done so already. We've got 34 likes, 414 of you have been in here at some point. But tomorrow, I think it's going to be players I just haven't been drafting that much. So we'll go over that. And then Thursday's the one you guys wanted to see. A.J. Brown versus Puka Nacua versus Garrett Wilson. How would I rank those 3? So I will catch you guys next Tuesday on the stream. But have a good night, everyone. And